Hey, I appreciate for watching this video, and if you like the content, don't forget to subscribe and turn notification on so you don't miss any update. I am going to start covering cryptocurrency on this channel, and the first crypto that I will cover is the granddaddy of them all, Bitcoin. This is the daily chart for Bitcoin, and the data I have is to 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on October the 5th, after Bitcoin dropped down to about 39,000. Seems like it found bottom, rebound, ran all the way to 50,400 in a matter of about 10 days. That is 28% gain. Very impressive. So now we're starting to see bullish analysts are predicting that Bitcoin would run up to about 100,000. Some even saying that Bitcoin could run up to about 150,000 by the end of the year. Are they being overly optimistic? Well, let's see if we can figure this out. Bitcoin started the year at around 30,000, then went on this very nice bull run, established this all-time high at almost 65,000 around the first week in April. So we're looking at about 4 months for it to run up by 2 times. Volume was extremely strong. That was a really good sign. But then around the first week in May, we had this bearish signal when the 10 days dropped below the 50 days. And after that, the price continued to retrace. Then around the middle of July, we had the 50 days cross over and drop below the 200 days. That was the death cross. The price continued to retrace, dropped to about 29,000. This seems like the bottom. After that, Bitcoin started trending up. First bullish sign when the 10 days finally cross over and lead the 50 days. Price continued to trend higher. Then we had the 50 days cross over and then lead the 200 days. So this become a very bullish signal. Golden cross. So we had a transition from a bearish signal, death cross, into a golden cross. But after Bitcoin ran up to about almost 53,000, the price then retraced, dropped back down to about 39,000, then started this reversal in price again. One of the things that is different between the time that Bitcoin was trending up during the first 4 months of the year, volume was very high, but after that, volume is extremely low. That is still a big concern. What I like to do is look at the past when there is a transition from a death cross into a golden cross. Let's see how Bitcoin had performed. Alright, so let's just step back in history. So this is the first case that was around the middle of March of 2020. We have this transition here from a death cross into a golden cross, and the whole process took about 2 months. The price at that time was around 9,800, and then it took about 3 months to run up to, let's say the max here is about 12,600. That is about 28% in 3 months. Let's see if we can find another scenario when this happened around 2018. We see the death cross transition into a golden cross, and this transition took almost a year to complete. So right at the point where we have this golden cross, Bitcoin was trading at around 5,800, ran up all the way to 13,500 in a matter of like a month. So this is a run up of about 2.4 times. But after that, we see this retracement and it dropped down to about 83. So in 3 months, we're looking at 1.4 times again. One thing we have to keep in mind is at around 5,400, the market cap of Bitcoin at that time was only 257 billion. So it's very low. And also the volume is very high. Let's see if we can find another time when this happened. Another time when this happened was around 2015. About the second week in September of 2015, we had the death cross and transitioned into golden cross around the end of October. And then we see the price spike up from around this point, which is about 335. In 3 months, it ran up to about 430. So we're looking at 28%. So basically, the only time when we have that huge 1.45% gain, that was around 2018. And that took about 1 year for the transition from Death Cross to Golden Cross. Whereas the other 2 times, the gain in 3 months after a transition from Death Cross to Golden Cross was only about 28%. So what history is telling us is the longer it takes for the transition to happen, the higher the probability for the price to run up a lot more once this transition occurred. And if we look at what's happening right now, the transition from Death Cross to Golden Cross took about 3 months. So for Bitcoin to close the year at 100,000, we are looking at the Golden Cross occur right at this point. That when Bitcoin was trading at 48.5 to run up to about 100,000 by the end of the year, which is roughly about 3 months. It would have to go up by at least 2 times. And for Bitcoin to close at 150,000, it would have to increase by at least 3 times. And if history was to repeat itself, I don't think that's going to happen, because the transition here took about 3 months, number one. Number two, the volume is still very low. And when you have a run up with low volume, there's a very high probability to have this flash crash again and again. Number three, when we have this huge spike up in price, when this transition occurred in 2019, that when the market cap of Bitcoin was around 257 billion, not where it is right now, which is almost 1 trillion. So the higher the market cap is, the harder for it to go up high percentage-wise like before. So personally, given all these facts and what happened in history, it is very unlikely for Bitcoin to be able to reach 100,000 or more by the end of this year. I am predicting that history will repeat itself. So Bitcoin would likely close the year at around 65,000, where it would also be retesting this all-time high that it established back around the middle of April. So there you have it. My prediction is Bitcoin would likely close the year at around 65,000. Some may say it is extremely conservative, but I do believe that is the most realistic number. Let's take a look at Bitcoin in the short term. Let's see how Bitcoin would perform over the next 7 days. Let's take a look at Bitcoin on this 1 hour chart. Bitcoin ran up to about 53,000, retraced, ran up to 48, retraced, bounced up. So it was forming this cup and handle base. Price broke out. Target for this cup and handle would take Bitcoin to about 56,000. But here's the key. Given the fact that the volume is still very low, the prior high is at 53,000. So 53,000 will be a major resistance. If Bitcoin fell to cross over this 53,000, then I'm looking for seller to push the price down, and Bitcoin would likely retest this prior low at 47,000. So for the next few days, I am looking forward to Bitcoin continue to trend up, but the key level is at 53,000. That's it for this video, and don't forget to click that like button and reward me with a like if you appreciate the content that I'm presenting. Also, if you are new to my channel, don't forget to click that subscribe button and subscribe, and make sure you turn notification on. And if you have Twitter, make sure you follow me at VidMaxim, because I provide constant update on all of our favorite cryptos.